Okay, so this is your basic drawing lesson for Flash. One of the things that you probably realize is that Flash can design vector art, which means it doesn't use pixels, it uses math to create art. The nice thing about vector art is that whether that drawing is 2 inches by 2 inches or 200 inches by 200 inches, it doesn't lose its quality. So while we work with Flash, we can go through and see the nice art that it can create, which also means that when you create a website or when you're using it to develop media or movies or cartoons or whatever media you're developing, it actually saves on load time as well and file size. So creating vector art is a nice little piece of Flash that is sometimes overlooked. This is a graphic we'll be using. This was a graphic that I designed for a kids taekwondo class, and I'm going to draw the girl, and you guys will draw the boy, so that way we can see how to create vector art in Flash. I'm going to go ahead and turn my internet connection off. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to zoom in on her face, and one of the things that we want to remember when you're putting together this is that we're going to be grouping our drawings, and we're going to be creating movie clips out of them, each piece. So we're going to, like when we create her face, we'll do the face and the neck as two separate pieces. Then we'll create the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair, the nose, the mouth. All of those pieces will be created separately, so that if we want to go in the future and say animate her eyebrows, make her eyes close, if we want to create, if we in fact just want to animate this, we can do that quite easily. You'll notice we're going to in this first piece, I'm actually going to go ahead and use the rectangle tool, and I'm going to leave the stroke on, and I'm going to use the fill color. So we'll select the skin color for her face. I'm going to create a light color, and then for the stroke we're going to go one just a little deeper, and you'll be able to see pretty easily why we're going to do that. If I'm not real happy with the stroke color, I can always go back in and change it. In fact, I think I'm going to change. There we go. So I'm going to start off. We'll work on the girl's head layer. You'll notice I have the graphic locked underneath. I have girl's head layer, and then I have these other couple of layers for me to work on. So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to start by just making a blank, a square right here. You're going to think that that's odd, but you'll see real quickly how we can manipulate this pretty easily. As I get to the corners, you'll notice that you'll see the little line right here from under the arrow. That means I can pull a corner, okay, and keep a point or a corner intact. What I'm going to do is place that, just say right there. And I'm going to do the same over on this side, just move the corner. As I get to the center, you'll notice that it changes to an arc. And what I'm going to do is push that arc out. I'm kind of following along. Now I can't see anything. Well, one of the nice pieces about Flash is I can come right up here, click this box, and change it to just have the outline of the box. I still have my stroke, I still have my fill, but now we've just kind of gone in and changed it. I'm going to put the other pick point right there in the corner, and I'm going to do the same to this side right here. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to view, make sure that I don't have snap to object on. If you do, it's going to make it a little more difficult, so you want to take that, make sure that that's unselected. I'm going to come down here and pull out the jaw a little bit. Now you might think I'm kind of stuck, but I'm actually not. What I'm going to do now is, if I hold the control key down before I go to touch a line, I'm going to push the control key down, go to the left mouse button, okay, click, and I'm going to actually be able to get another pick point. You'll see that it pulls it out right there. So I get a pick point, and I'm just going to throw it right there. And I can pull this, and you'll notice now I can pull an arc out right there. I'm going to go in a little closer, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to hit the control key, go back to my selection tool, and you want to use the black arrow, by the way. I'm going to go back to my selection tool, hold the control key down again, grab another pick point, and just pull it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll notice the closer that I get to the arrow, or as I move down to the pick point, what happens to my arc. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to hold the control key down, pull it there, pull that out. I'm going to come in here, pick another pick point, hold the control key down, and pull it right there so that I can pull this ear out. And I may not want to. And I'm going to do the same thing for the side of the face right here. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of looking. If I turn this back on, there's the shape of my face. We're pretty close. Nothing has to be perfect at this point. Okay. The other thing that you want to do is, this is a stroke right now. So if you double click it, it will select the whole stroke, or the whole area. I want to double click it because I'm going to change that from a stroke to actually a fill. So what that means is now my line is now a fill line. Okay, this is a fill in here. Now the outer piece of my puzzle is a fill as well, so that I can actually go in and start to manipulate that fill line. And why do I want to manipulate that fill line? Well, you'll see here in a sec as I start to come in. Notice what happens here. It actually treats it like it would if it were a shape. So we get that ability to come in here and play around. You'll notice when in cartoons and things like that, we're starting to kind of get that cartoon or illustrated look by changing our fill line. Because it's a fill, it will lose its ability to be one solid stroke. Okay, so it's no longer a stroke where it keeps its, if I were to move the stroke around, it would maintain its size. We don't want it to do that anymore. We want it to actually come in and do kind of what we're doing now. And you'll notice that I can make it thinner. It becomes thinner here, thicker up here, and so that gives us a nicer look, more of a cartoon look or something along those lines. It also gives us the ability to kind of go in and play around. Now remember, once I've changed it though, if I want to come out and pull anything out, I'm now working with two separate entities. These two lines now no longer are together. Okay. So, and if I look at my stroke, you'll notice the same thing. Notice here's my stroke. Well, now I have an inside stroke line, or an inside line, object line, and an outside object line, and that's because of the fill. Okay, so this is kind of where you can come in and add some shadow, get a kind of a different look, pull it, soften it, give it more of a shadow, and you'll notice that once you start to play with this, sometimes it takes on a mind of its own. Okay, so I'm going to select this, hold the shift key down, select the outer fill as well. I'm going to modify and I'm going to group them together. So now they're on one group. This can stay as a group. If I want, I can make it a movie clip. Go to Insert, Convert to Symbol, and we'll just say Face in this case. Okay. And the reason is, if we want to go in and animate this later, it's already a movie clip, so it means I can double click on this now and play with it and make a face out of it. So if I come in and I want to play, you'll notice the movie clip down here in the properties. I double click on it. Now I have a timeline just for the face, so that if I want to go in and animate it, I can do that. Okay. and it's still on my scene, and it would be, this piece would be animated separately than everything else. So it's on the girl's head label, so we're going to leave it there. I'm going to make sure that this now stays as an outline form because I want to be able to see everything underneath. So I'm going to click off of it, and now I'm going to start to build the pieces for the face. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to build the eyes. I'm going to go to the round or oval tool. In this case, I don't know that I want a stroke, so I'm going to go ahead and take the stroke off. I'm going to go in, pick a fill color for the eyes. We'll make them blue for right now because that'll make it easy for us to see. I'm going to throw an eyeball in there. In fact, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this out. I'm going to go ahead and Control X, which means I'm going to cut it out of there, and I'm going to work on the layer 4 so that when I start to build this, paste, and I'm going to go paste in place so that I can put on layer 4. When I start to build this, I want to be able to look at all these pieces together, okay, as I start to lay it over, so I can kind of get an idea how it's going to look. This is the eyeball. We're going to start building on top of that, but first I want to group this, okay, because as I start to build my layers, as I start to put my pieces together, we want to start keeping we want to be consistent and group everything at the same time, or start grouping it. I'm going to go to the oval tool. I'm going to take the stroke off again. This time I'm going to put in a black iris, and I'm actually going to go to layer 5 and do that, put that over that, because I'll show you what happens if we aren't careful. Okay, so there's that, and you know, we can play around with this. Okay. One of the things Flash does is that if you start to put things on top of each other, it acts like what happens is it will actually cut out. If you lay over, watch, I'll give you a good example. I'm going to lay this little highlight that I'm going to put in here over the eyeball. Okay, so if I decide, I'm really not liking where that is, I want to change that around, move it around. Notice what happened here. It literally, because it laid over the iris, it cut it out. Now, I moved it, it's going to cut that tip out. So now what I end up with is I start to end up with pieces cut out. So if I come out here, and I come in here, and I pull this off again, you'll notice now cut it out even bigger. So that's one of the things we want to try and avoid. That's why we group everything, is so that we don't get that cut out feature. And if I wanted to fix it, I'd have to come back in here, and it gets to be a mess. So I'm just going to Control Z out of this. So I'm going to just go ahead and group that. I'm going to go ahead and put the iris back on there, take the stroke off. This is just kind of our little highlight. One of the things that I want to remember to do is I'm going to send this to the back so that I can, oops, oh, now if I don't group this as well, I'm not going to be able to send anything or bring anything forward, so I'm going to group that. Go to Modify, Arrange, Bring to Front. So now when I go to put my iris back there, it's on top. This doesn't look quite right, so we're going to go in and work with it for a little bit. Now that I double click it, you'll notice it's got the bounding box around it. Well, I want to double click it again, so now that I'm actually in this group layer, just grouping this, and I can go in now and play with it, kind of start to look and see how that looks, see if I like that. Same thing with the iris. It might be too big, or we may not like the way it looks, but we can play around and move it around and try and get a better look to it. Okay, if we don't like the size, we can actually go in right here, and this is our free transform, and I can make it bigger or smaller. Okay, if I hold the Shift key down, it will make it smaller both in the X and the Y environment, and the X and the Y, which means, you know, left and right, top and bottom. If I like both of those, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my selection tool, hold the shift key down, and go ahead and group both of those. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead, since these are on two separate layers, you'll notice when I click on this it goes to layer 4, when I click on the iris it goes to layer 5. I'm actually going to cut that out, go back here and paste it on layer 5. And I'm going to actually go to edit and paste in place right there so that it keeps that location. Okay, now I'm going to come back in here, select them all, and I'm going to group them. Okay. And now that I have them grouped, I have two eyes, so I just want to go ahead and go edit, copy, edit, paste in place, and so now I have two copies of that eye on top of each other. So I can move that over there. And if I want to go in and play with this one, it's not going to affect this one. So if I want to come in here and play with the iris, I got to just keep double clicking all the way until I get to where I want to be to play with this. Okay, so that I can kind of go in and make a little change here. And you'll notice it didn't affect this eye right there. You'll note I went down 3 layers of grouping right here, okay, to get to the iris. I hit the scene 1 right here, and it takes me all the way back out, and now I have my eyeballs. I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to Insert, Convert to Symbol. I'm going to say left eye, and hit OK. Oops. I have another, we'll just put this left eye 1. I have another face in here that I did earlier, and I'll show you that. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to select the right eye, go to Insert, Convert to Symbol, right eye. In your case, you just name it right eye, but since I already have eyes in here, I'm going to name it right eye too. Okay. And so this is what it looks like. So now, if I want to come in here and I want to turn this on, there's the start of my girl. Let me go back. Select your Zooms tool, hold the Alt key down. You'll notice I go from having, when I come in and push the Alt key down, I get to zoom out. This is zoom in. This will be zoom out. If I hold the Alt key and push down with my left button, I get that. I can zoom out. Okay, so if I want to look at the graphic right here, so far so good. This is what it looks like. Selection tool. Nothing to look at yet. I'm going to keep the eyes just like this because we'll put a eyelid on it later. So that if I want to animate the eyelid, I can do a whole animation series where it closes and opens, or I can have what I'll end up doing is making a complete eye. But for right now, this works. So we're going to select these two, hold the shift key down, grab both of them. We're going to Control X, cut them out, and then put them on the girl's face layer again. So I'm just going to select down there, go to Edit, paste in place, and our eyes go back where they belong. So you can start to see we're starting to build her face. I'm going to go to Outline Form, so her eyes are right there. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to do her bangs. So I'm going to kind of get a little bang thing going on there. I can have a stroke in here if I want, and I probably will because I'm going to put these little lines in for the bangs as well. My fill color, I want to pick a hair color here, so let's we'll go with a kind of a lighter brown, and then on the stroke color we're going to go darker. And we can just pick a darker color and then go in and play with it over here in our color mixer. If we're not quite happy with that color, I can kind of come in here and make it a little darker by pulling that down. Okay, so now I have these two colors as my stroke colors. I'm going to work in the layer 4 again. Here is my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to come in and throw the box up here like that. Okay, I want to work in outline format again. Go back to my arrow tool. I'm going to grab the corner, throw it right there. I'm going to grab this corner, throw it right up there, push that up. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab this corner, go to there, grab this corner, and you can kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to push this up right there like that. Okay. We'll go in and play with the bangs, so that's not a problem. You'll notice too in my outline, these are different colors. This one's purple, this one's red, this one will be yellow, so that I can differentiate between the different outlines, which makes it really nice when it comes time to come in here and, whoops, when we have to come in here and work with several different layers, and that's what it is it's giving us the different layer looks. This doesn't have to be perfect again. And remember, we're going to start layering these on top of each other, so what you're going to end up seeing, if I turn both of these on, is that right now. Okay, so remember, this is the hair layer, and we're going to kind of just play around. You know, us girls in our hair. Okay, so we have our little stroke going on. Doesn't have to be perfect now. Remember, we're going to use this color also for the eyebrows and then the hair in the back. Okay, and then we're going to put this hair tie or headband on underneath this hair, so we're not going to worry too much about it. Okay, again, I'm going to come back in here and double click on the stroke. I'm going to change that because I'm going to come up here to modify, shape, convert lines to fill. So again, now it's a fill, and what that means is I can come in here and play around and make some changes, and it will not maintain its consistent stroke consistency anymore. I'm going to hold the control key down. I'm going to grab a point right here, push that up, and I kind of just want to come in. I'm going to grab another, push the control key so I get another pick point. And I'm going to do the same thing over here again, grab a pick point. So now what I'm going to start doing is actually, remember those bangs that we had in there? Yeah, I'm actually just going to kind of start to build those in. I'm going to go back to the control, whoops, select off, hold the control key down, pull this pick point down again, grab another pick point, hold the control key, left mouse button again, come up here, and I'm going to start to do that as I go all the way through. Hold the control key down, pick another pick point, control. So what I'm actually doing now is building my bangs. Remember the bangs that were in there? And I'm building my lines so that I can get some shadows and stuff in there. Because this is going to be my highlight. The lighter brown will be my highlight, or the color, and then these will be my shadows. Hold the control key down, pull it, oops. Go back in, hold the control key down first, then grab your pick point, otherwise you're going to do what I did. Control key down, up, control key, and as we start to go through, you'll start to see. And then we can come in here and we can play around and modify it and kind of start to get what we want for our bangs. Okay. They don't have to be perfect. You're just kind of trying to get a little bang thing going on there. And then we can pull this all the way down here and watch what happens. If I pull this all the way down and grab this one, remember what I told you about all being selected now? Because these, what I ended up doing was bringing this point into this fill area. I have now created a separate block here. Okay. And that's because I went in and pulled it all the way down and joined these two fill areas together. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We'll just make quick work of this. Come down here, go back up there, grab again. Okay, this will give us the ability to just come in here and start to build our bangs. Same thing here. So what we're doing is we're just kind of going in and changing the fill, the stroke to the fill. So that makes it nice because then we can just come in and make real quick work instead of having to go in and put a stroke in there, which might have been, you know, it might have been easier. And the way we could have done that is real simple. What would have ended up happening though is, remember, if I put this stroke in here, I'm going to just grab the pencil and I'm going to put a line down here. I want to change that to smooth. I'm going to just throw these in there. Okay, so these could have been done one of two ways, but now I got to remember to go back in and select this, select that, and go to Modify, Shape, Convert Lines to Fill. So now they are fill lines too, and I can just kind of go in and that might have been easier, you know, if we'd have thought about that, which we did just now. But we'll just go in and start to play around. Okay. And pull, push, you know, just kind of open this up and play around and get a different kind of look. It would have saved us a little more time. If I don't particularly care for the way that looks, I can go in and actually take it out. So you just gotta go in, play around with it, see what you like. Remember, you're gonna go in and we want it to not have the same look. In this case, we'll just pull this one down. Go there. Oops. Now, as long as I keep playing with this, the colors are going to take care of each other. The brown will move up along with this. If I move this, though, remember when I selected this, and if I move it off, remember we talked about how it cuts out? Well, we don't want to do that. Okay. So if I'm happy, you know, I can come in. Now we start looking, it gets to be a matter of choice. What is it you want? You know, what are you trying to achieve? And okay. You could play around with this forever if you wanted to, and in this case I don't want to. I'm just going to go in and select all of the hair, so I'm just going to do a big group selection this way, otherwise I'm going to have to go through and select each individual piece because it got cut out before. I'm going to go to Modify Group. Okay. I'm going to make this a movie clip because if I wanted to go in and I want to animate the bangs or have it, you know, move if she's talking or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and make it a movie clip just in case. Call it bangs. Hit OK. Oh, I already have bangs taken, so I'm just going to make it bangs 1. Hit OK. And now it's bangs. I'm going to cut it out of there, go back to my girl's head, edit, paste in place. So let's start to look. Hold the Alt key down, pull her out. So now we start to see her bangs. We've got her eyes, we've got the shape of her face. We're taking care of those big pieces. Let's go ahead and give her her headband. Okay, because the headband's going to lay over the bangs. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the hair behind her head first, and then we'll do the headband. I want to come out a little bit on this. I'm going to hit the zoom, hold the Alt key down again, and come out because I'm going to do the left side of the hair, and then I'll do the right side. And since everything else is on its own layer, remember we're working in layer 4. We won't have to worry about it. I'm going to come back over here, grab this pick point, oops, drop it there. I'm going to grab this pick point and put it somewhere around there, push that out. Remember, it doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to come up here, grab this pick point. I'm just going to go ahead and put it right there for now. And I'm going to grab that corner and throw it right there. Again, I'm going to have to create my own points, so I'm going to go to Control and pull that one roughly right about there so I can push that arc out. Hold the Control key down again, put a pick point right there, and I'm going to pull this, whoops, in. So I'm following the contour of the hair. I'm going to do another pick point, hold the Control, then my left mouse button key, go there, pull that out just a smidge, push that up, whoops, push, select off, push that up, okay. And remember, we don't have to be exact, and we can in fact cut it short here because the uniform is probably going to go over that, so we're not going to worry too much about that. And I'm going to pick another pick point right here to put it by her neck and pull that out because the neck will overlap the hair. And then I'm just going to go ahead and push this all the way over this way. Not too far though, because I want to make sure that the face covers it and I don't have a gap there. So there's the hair. Doesn't look great yet, but we're working on it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the fill lines here. I'm going to come in and look real quick though. Yeah, I want to pick that up first. So doesn't have to be perfect, and we can go in and tweak it later, but for right now I want to go ahead and get close. Again, I want to go in, double click, so I'm going to take the stroke. I want all the stroke all the way around, modify. If I don't, what happens is I only get this stroke to the last pick point. So that's where I have that one point right there that I created, remember earlier? Okay, so there it is. You can see that the line, it's a corner. Okay, so I want to double click all of this so I get the whole stroke, modify, shape, oops, convert to fill. So now again, select off. This is a fill line, and at this is a corner. Since that's a corner right there, I'm picking up a corner. I'm going to pull that. Remember, we're going to start to get that shape change. And that is a good thing or a bad thing, so we don't know yet. But we're going to get to play with this. So, and again, we're changing the look of this so that we have more of a, gosh, I hate to say cartoon look, but again, that's kind of where we're going with this. And I'm going to come over here, hold the control, get a little pick point up, because I want to come in and we'll be able to better play with this. Now that I'm a fill, I can go in and play with this line better. Okay, so if I want to come in, I'm actually going to pull this way, and you'll see why in a sec. Because I want to be able to have some shadow and play around with my fill. You'll see. Do the same thing here. I'm going to hold the pick point control, pull my fill out of the way. It's going to seem a little confusing, but you'll see. Okay. I'm going to run into a problem here because I got rid of my fill line on that side right there. I'm not worried about this because remember, this is going to be our little headband area. Is going to overlay there. But this might be an issue, so I'm going to pull this down a little bit. And I'm going to pick a point, pull this back some, because I want to play around here. Okay, so we're just kind of coming in here and trying to look like some hair. Make some changes, just kind of get a little dip there. Okay. We'll do the same thing in here. You'll notice that's a pick point right there. If I don't want this piece right there, I'm just going to come in here with my selection tool, select it, okay, group it, grab it, hit delete, and pull it off. If I'm not real happy with that, that's the easiest way to get rid of that kind of stuff. I'm going to pull this up right here, come back in, hold my control key down, get a pick point, and pull that back. So what I'm really trying to do is create a little shadow underneath a little bit. Because remember, this is underneath her hair, underneath her neck. And we can do that, you know, we can kind of get an idea of where, oops, everything is. Just kind of go in there, and that's going to be the back of her neck, remember, underneath her neck. So we just kind of want to go in and create a little shadow. I lost my fill right here because when I went to go play with it, it doubled over on itself and got rid of itself. So if I really want that back, I can just bring this down, grab it, and now I have two options for fill there. Okay, come over here, and then again, now I have my fill back. Okay, so these are some things that we get to do in Flash, and again, it gives us the ability to give it more of an illustrated look, or in this case we're kind of just going for a cartoon. And again, I hate to say that, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, and that this fill might seem large right here, but remember the headband's going to go over that. I'm going to group this again, so I'm going to select both pieces, modify group. Again, if I want to animate it, I can turn it into a movie clip. And I can just come over here and say insert, convert to movie clip. We can say left hair. Okay, hit OK. And now it's movie clip. I'm actually going to take it out again, Control X, cut it out of there. I'm going to go to the girl's head, select that, and hit edit, paste in place. So now this is what she's starting to look like. I want the hair to go to the back though, so I'm going to go to modify, arrange, send to back. So now her hair is in the back, her her bangs are in the front, along with her face. Now remember that whole big section of grouping and stuff I did here? Look what happened. I mean the highlight that was back here, it's now behind the face. So if I want to go in and make some changes, I have to remember I'm going to have to double click that. Oops. And go in, and then I can play with it. Double click it. Here's her hair. It's grouped, so again I have to remember to go in, and but here's where it is, and now I can go in and kind of, since I see her face, I can kind of go in and get an idea where I need to pull things out from. Okay, and then I go back to the scene, and you can see I pulled a little bit out there. I probably want to go in and do some more, and then double click on that and pull it out a little bit more, because this is the shadow, and her face is in front. So we just kind of want to go in and pull it out a little more, go back to the scene. It's kind of where we're going in and tweaking it. Okay, so that's the hair on that side. Let's go ahead and do the hair on this side. Again, I'm going to go to my zoom tool, hold the Alt key, zoom out. So now you can start to see where we're really starting to get her face looking more illustrated, more cartoonish. And that's because we were able to go in and put these strokes and put the outlines, because if you look at a cartoon, it's not necessarily black outlines, it's a darker color than what's originally there. If you're not happy with the color of this face, you can always go in and change it, and we can do that later, but for right now it'll work. Okay, I'm going to do the other big piece, which is her hair on this side. Since I'm using the same colors, I'm just going to, I'm going to try and get all the hair knocked out. You want to work in layer 4, so we're not going to be hurting anything. I'm just going to come here again. I'm going to go to my, I'm going to go to the outline, pull my corners, come back up here, pull this corner in, whoops, go to there. Same thing here. I'm going to come up here, because remember I need to arc that out. I'm going to pull that corner right there, because remember we're going to be able to go in and make some more points. Hold the control key down, your left mouse button, oops, go back to your selection tool, then do it. Create a pick point so that now I can go back in and just pull that out. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to create another pick point because if I try and go in and manipulate this, I can get it, but I have a compound curve going on here, so I want to make sure that I am able to go in and get the kind of curve I want. And even this isn't going to be good enough, so I'm going to actually move my pick point up. And what that will do is it allows me to go in and change my curve, which is better for me. I want to pull this out the bottom, otherwise I'm going to end up with kind of a mess. Because I want to come in, pull this curve here. I'm probably going to have to do another pick point, so I'm going to hold the control key down again, put that right, roughly right there, and then I can pull the arc in, pick another pick point here, so I can put it right there to her chin. Remember, we want to kind of go where that makes it the easiest for us. Okay, here's her hair. I'm going to go in and create one more pick point and just kind of put that, actually I'm going to put it back a little this way because I want the face to overlap, but I don't want to see a gap, and push that up. So if I turn that on, pretty close. Remember, the face is, this is going to be behind the face, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And the uniform collar is going to be over this hair, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay, so put this back on. Remember the stroke, what we're going to do with the stroke, double click the stroke, modify, shape, convert to fill. Now I can go in and again I can make some changes. Remember, we want maybe a little bit of shadow. I'm going to come in here and pull another, let's see, pick point. You kind of have to think about what's her hair going to look like. You know, where's her highlights, and does she have any body in her hair? What does it look like? Pull this out just a smidge because I don't want it uniform. And since that's her part, we're going to have some shadow in there. Okay. We know we'll have some shadow. And there's her parts right there, so I don't have to worry because I know my headband is going to go over the top of all that. So I just want to kind of get an idea of what's it going to look like in here. What is all this going to look like? Hold the control. Oops, I don't want to move it. Just kind of come in here and get an idea of what it is. Okay, so remember though, this face is going to be over that, so we don't really have to worry too much. But remember, we just want some shadow because again, her face is going to be over that. So now you can start to see. Now if I wanted to put some white in there or to highlight it, you know, for a highlight, I can do that as well. I would actually, you know, again put a stroke down, turn it into a fill, which would be the quickest and easiest, and I could go in and put a highlight. I'm not going to graduate the highlight because this is kind of a cartoonish look, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Remember, this is going to be over this hair, so we kind of want to make sure that we take that into consideration when we do these pieces. Okay, so I'm going to come in, hold, whoops, select both pieces, again modify group, and I'm going to go ahead and convert it to a symbol. I'm going to say right, hair right. Hit OK. So now it's a movie clip. I'm going to cut that movie clip out, put it on the girl's head layer, edit, paste in place. I want to change my I want to rearrange this. Remember, since it's already selected, I'm going to go to Modify, Arrange, and then Send to Back, so that her face now is over that. Okay, so we're putting everything within layers on the layer itself even. So we're arranging our drawings or our movie clips or our graphics so that they're sitting on top of each other accordingly. Again, I want to look at it. I'm going to go to that, go to my zoom tool, hold the Alt key down, and then zoom out. So now you can start to see that she's getting that kind of cartoon look. We've got the shadow behind the face, on the sides of the face. We can go in and change this. Probably pick up some more along the edges here of this. But now you can kind of start to see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and turn this. That looks really different, doesn't it? So remember, that's our outlines of our forms that are currently in there. And whoops, I want to go in and I'm going to put her headband in now. Okay, so I'm going to work on layer 4. Actually, I'm going to do her eyebrows first. Since I'm still working in the same color here, I want to go ahead and do her eyebrows. So I'm just going to go ahead and do her eyebrows. I'm going to use the box though because I want the eyebrows to actually have a stroke also. Or a fill around them, but I want to get that stroke first. And in this case, again, we'll double click, modify, shape, convert to fill. So now when we go in and play, okay, one problem was I didn't shape the eyebrow, so I'm going to go ahead and change that so that it's not a fill anymore. So it's still the stroke, okay, but I want to go ahead and try and give her eyebrows a little shape to them so that I'm not trying to, remember, if I work the fill, it's not going to work. If I try and go in and shape the eyebrows or do anything like that, when they're fill, it's just not going to work for me. It's going to be really difficult. I'm going to pull them out a little like that. So, okay, so that's close because we're going to still go in and play with this, remember? Double click on that, shape, convert to fill. Now I can go in and start to mess around with my eyebrows, remember? Again, we're taking away that concentric look for the fill, and the only way or the stroke, and the only way we're going to be able to do that is this way, by playing around with this stuff. So we want to try and just see if we can come in here and play around and if you ever watch Cartoon Network, retro cartoons are kind of are back now, and that's this look with the fill, with the shadow all the way around and stuff. I mean the stroke around the cartoon. I mean around the eyebrows and things like that. I'm just going to kind of come in and play a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty close. We can play around, we can be here forever, but in this case, we don't want to. Her eyebrows might be a little large. We can go in and change. We can change that by coming in here and selecting these, and then playing with the free transform tool. If we want to make them smaller. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and select all this again. Oops, go to my arrow tool, selection tool. Select both of those, modify group. Okay, since we have two eyebrows, I can go ahead and Control-C, copy that, edit. I'm just going to paste it on top of each other, and now I have two eyebrows. One of the things that this does is it saves me some time and energy. I'm going to actually come in here and flip that eyebrow. So I'm going to transform. I'm going to flip it. Now watch, if I flip it horizontally, there's my eyebrow. So now I have two eyebrows, similar design and shape. Look, we don't both have similar, both our eyebrows aren't similar, but we can go ahead and make some changes and play with that. In our free transform tool, you see this little white dot? That's a pivot point. And if I rotate it, if I rotate, I come out to the side, you'll see I get that little round circle tool or arrow in a circle. That means it rotates it around the pivot point, which is okay. If I move that pivot point though to here, now when I go to pivot this, notice that it pivots around that pivot point. Okay, that's one of the nice things about this pivot point. I can put it anywhere and it's going to rotate around that pivot point. Okay, so but in this case I'm just going to go ahead and oops, come back here, put my pivot point back, say right there. When you take the intermediate course for Flash, you'll learn how to do animation. One of the things you'll play with is that pivot point. Think of it as a hinge point. When we work with legs or knees, we'll put the pivot point, say we'll make a calf and put it at the top of the knee. When you do thighs, you'll put it at the hip, so that these pivot points make it easier for animation. The other thing I want to do is maybe go in and change this a little bit, so I'm just going to double click on it and make some changes, because again, nobody has the same eyebrows and we just kind of want to give it a little bit more custom look. And if we're happy with that, we'll come out, we'll put everything on, we'll zoom out, see. She's got kind of big eyebrows. I'm not happy with that, so one of the nice things is I'll just come in here, free transform. We'll make her eyebrows smaller. We'll move her. We definitely want to get those Brooke Shield eyebrows out of there. Nothing against Brooke, but you know, we don't want those to be the focal point on our face. We just want to be able to look. Okay, and again, we can go in, move our free transform, rotate our little eyebrows. Okay, and I think I want to just make them a little smaller that way too. Same here. I want to go to select, free transform, make them smaller that way, because we really don't want them to be the main focal point of the face. We want them to enhance, not subtract. So anyway, you can go in and play with the eyebrows, make some changes, make them smaller, make them thinner, but in this case, you know, we could be mucking around for a while here. Play with my free transform tool and kind of see where you want to. Anyway, so those are her eyebrows. We can again convert to symbol, say left brow, hit OK. It's already taken, so I'm just going to throw a 1 back there, hit OK. This one, insert, modify. Again, remember, if we want to animate the face, the eyebrows will move independently. We'll just call that brow right, because we already know that right brow's taken. If we want to animate the face, you know, the eyebrows all move and do their own little things, so we know that when people talk, their eyebrows move, and in this case you'd probably want to, again, move the eyebrows independently. So anyway, we just kind of want to go in and play around. We're really messing that brow up, but let's don't play with it anymore. Okay, so again, we want to cut and paste those out. So grab both of those, Control X, go to the girl's face, hit Edit, paste in place. Okay. We'll put the headband in next, but that's kind of where everything's looking on the outline. On the headband, let's go ahead and just make it, every girl likes pink, so we'll make her headband pink and give her a nice dark stroke. Actually, I'm going to make it a little lighter, I think. Not too light, but we want to be able to see the difference. I'm going to come in here, again, make my square. I'm not going to change the fills or anything yet because otherwise we could get into trouble again. Let's place our corners. I don't know why that did that. There we go. Place that corner. Again, let's go back to our, we can see where that is. There we go. Oops. We don't want to play with that. Let's go ahead and lock that layer. We're finally to a point where we need to lock it. And let's go ahead and turn it off so that we can play with that. Otherwise, we're starting to get a little confusing there. Pull this. Let's put that back where it belongs. Put that corner there. This corner here. Push that up. So again, you know, we're just kind of eyeballing this, playing around, seeing where everything is, kind of generally placing it. If we're not happy with it, that's okay. We can go back in and change it later, remember. That's our headband. Again, let's play with that stroke again. Double click the stroke, shape, convert to fill, and then again we can come in here and start, play around with our stroke in there. Let's go in and look at it a little better. And we can, it's a headband, so we can just kind of go in and play around. Okay. So you can start to just kind of play around, figure out where you think everything should really go. Doesn't have to be perfect, just that, so that you get the idea, because when you get to do the card tutorial, that's going to be much more difficult, because when we go to play with strokes, when we go to play with fills there, we're actually going to start using gradients with the fill so that it really gives us a different look. Our fill lines here will be gradiated out, if that makes sense. Okay, let's turn that on. Let's see how that looks. And so here's our little headband. Not too bad. We're starting to see how her face looks. Okay. The face we can go in and change. I'm not happy with the eyebrows, but we'll leave them for now. I can go in and actually play with those. They're locked right now, but if I want to go in, I think I'm going to go back in and play with them in a little while to fix them. Okay, but let's do the headband. Let's group that. Go to Modify, Group. Okay, I'm going to cut that out of there. Then I'm going to go back to the girl's head, unlock that, put it in, Edit, paste in place. So now I have her headband. You can see now, remember this outline right here? One of the things that I probably want to do is make a choice. I can bring this forward. Okay. So that I have the bangs. Or I can leave that forward. It's up to you. You need to make the choice. What works for you? What looks best in your opinion? Okay. We can make the headband smaller, obviously, so that we still have that look. I'm sorry. We can bring the headband forward and then minimize the bangs, and so that we still have that bang look. And we might do that. Let's look and see. So yeah, we could probably come in here, make this a smidge smaller, and when we work in this, we can start to see it's easier for us to work, because now we're working in the same layers, but we can start to see, as we start to push it up, we can see what's underneath and how that looks and how that's going to affect what we're working on. Okay, and that doesn't look too bad. You know, this is all a matter of tweaking now. What do you want, and is that going to work for us? And for right now, it works. It works pretty good. So far, so good. We locked the layer down. We want to go in and make it outline, because we still have her nose to do and her mouth. Okay. And then the nose, we can do a fill line if we want. We can make the nose itself look. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just put a fill. I'm going to turn this back on because I want to pick up this outline color here. So when I go to do the stroke, I want to pick up, I'm just going to select that. So what I'm going to do now is turn that off. And if I like the way this nose looks, we'll work in layer 4. I'll just run a line there. And I'll bring this around here. That's not going to work. I'll bring this right here. I'm just going to make it straight across. And again, I'll pull it. Okay. If we were making a nose, we'd actually build the nose. Okay, let's be very specific there. For this purpose, though, we're not going to worry about it too much. When we do in the advanced Flash class, you're going to actually go in and build the nose so that you can animate it. In this case, we're just going to create a fill line, because I'm going to come in here, okay, and start to kind of just give it a different look. But you would actually build the nose, and actually when we do character animation or caricature drawing, you'll see why. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of play around with it, give it a little kind of nosy look. I can come in and play with some shadows, pulling some stuff out. Okay. And then if I want, again, hit the control option, I can pull a point so that I'm starting to really just get the nose. Okay. So I'm going to select both of these, group them together. Okay, and I'm going to cut them out, put it on the lock layer, hit edit, unlock that layer though, paste in place. Okay, I could even put a stroke around this if I wanted to. If I really felt like I needed to do that, I could actually go ahead and put a stroke around that. But I'm not going to. This is okay for now. If I want to put a highlight over here to highlight like this side of the nose, the nostril, then I could do that, or the same thing here. But for right now, I think this works okay. Okay. And then we still have the mouth to go. And in this case, again, our drawing only has it as a line, but we would actually want to go in and put some lips in there. Okay. We'd actually put a top and a bottom lip. And we'll do that real quick. I don't want to make her too... I'm not quite sure what color. Okay. Notice if I try to work here, it's got a pencil tool and it's got the line, a circle with a line through it. I'm on a lock layer, so it's not going to let me do anything. So I'm going to work in layer 1. Come up here. Whoops. I think I need more than that. Come up here. You'll notice on my stroke it's pretty thick. If I want to come in and make it smaller, I can do that too, by the way. Come down here and make it really small, so I don't have to play around and worry about having too big of a stroke. I'm going to move everything over. Double click my... I just kind of want to move everything right now. You'll notice we used the square quite a bit because it's just much easier for us to use. And one of the things you want to do is get used to what your tools. So try and get used to your tools using what's easiest for you. So you want to come in and play around with your box. Remember, we're trying to make a set of lips here. That's not going to work real well, but you kind of get the idea. You want to come in, make some lips for make a set of lips. She's kind of pouting, but anyway, I think you get pretty good idea of what we're trying to do here. Because remember, we're going to put a bottom lip in here too, so it's not like she's a pick box right here. I don't have to go. So you want to make some lips and kind of give her... She's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. But I think you get the idea. So that's the top lip. We'll go ahead, let's go ahead and group that because I don't want to, it's not going to be perfect. And we can go in and tweak it later. So that's okay. Actually, I'm going to use the circle now. Come down here. And one of the things is it'll make it a little easier on us. Kind of just go in and play around. The shift key or the control again so that we get that little pick point in there. Okay, so this is your drawing and your girl, so you can put her lips any way you want. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make this a stroke again. Make it a fill. And then that way when I come in and play with the lips again, I'm not stuck with just any set of lips. I'm going to move those out of the way real quick. And again, I don't have to worry about it's not so much up here that I'm worried about. I'm more looking at this to get that kind of, remember, we want to lose that little concentric. So all I did was, again, I picked a point and kind of played with it in there. I'm going to move this back down. Remember, I still need to do the same thing with these, the top here. I still need to do the same thing with the top lips. I haven't change that into a fill yet. Anyway, we could sit here and play forever, but I think you kind of get the idea where we're going with this. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. I'm going to take the fill, modify, shape, convert. Okay, so now oops. So anyway, you get the idea that I'm going to move that point. You kind of get the idea of how we're going to play, how you can sit here and play forever if you wanted to. But I want you to just kind of look. That's what our lips look like right now. Probably we want to play a little with this. If I wanted her mouth open, that would be fine, but that's not what I want. Move her lips back with my arrow. Not real happy with that, but anyway, we could sit here and play forever, and that's not the idea. this is a basic drawing tutorial, and I kind of want you to get an idea of what it is you're going to be doing. So here's her lips. Let's zoom out. So, yeah, they might be a little big. I'm going to grab oops, let's modify, we'll group that. Remember, we can do some fantastic things with our free transform tool. And it doesn't look too bad. And we're going to grab that, whoops, and we'll cut it out and put her on our girl's head layer, unlock that, edit, paste in place. So now there are her lips. Is that where we want them? You decide. Doesn't have to be perfect, but they should be proportional to her face, so we want to be careful there. Okay, so this is kind of where we are. I'm going to change those eyebrows. I don't like the eyebrows at all. But for your drawing tutorial, this is the first part. So you want to go ahead and stop here and construct the head on the boy here, or try this. We'll finish this piece of the tutorial next. The uniform and everything else, if you'll look at it, it's all the basic shapes, so it should be pretty easy. It would probably be a white uniform with maybe a gray stroke around it or a black stroke around it, and then the V-neck here could be any color you want, along with, remember we have the hands here, so we want to make those the same color as the face, or maybe a little darker because your hands tend to be darker. And then you want to construct the belt. Okay, so that's the beginning basic tutorial. I want you to finish the drawing, and you'll turn this in. You'll go to File, Save As. Okay. We can also export the image. In this case, you can save the drawing as beginning drawing, or you can, once you've done it, export the image, and this gives you the ability to save it as a JPEG, Illustrator file, the things that EPS or AI, both of those are going to give you a good quality image. Okay, if we just want to save it as a bitmap or a JPEG, the JPEG would be a higher quality than a bitmap. and then a PNG would be okay as well. So these are the things that you should know, that when you're working with your text, you want to, or your images, when you export them, you want to go in and know what you're doing when you go to export the file. Okay, if we take it as a Adobe Illustrator, we can put it in Illustrator and turn it into a TIFF. We can do all kinds of things that keeps its image looking the way we want it to. Okay, that ends our tutorial for today. Take your time. The next tutorial is the car tutorial, and it's very in-depth, so that's going to be much more in-depth because it's much more advanced. But if you can get the basics of the drawing down now, you'll be okay.